This is the best of the Hoda Show on Sirius XM's Today Show Radio with host of NBC's Today Show, Hoda Kotb.
Jack Rico of Showbiz Cafe. He joins us now to talk movies. Jack's a guest on the show with Kathy Lee and I on the Today Show very often. How did we find you? How did this even come to be?
I do about 4 segments in the Today Show.
Yeah.
Jumpstart with Al, Willie, Tamara.
Yeah.
And, Ticket to Hollywood, which seems like the whole Today Show cast.
Yeah,
They do
everybody.
that. Who Knew?
Who knew? Yes.
With you.
Yeah.
And then The Buzz.
The Buzz.
So I think it happened just. I was doing the 9 a.m.
And then you
I think
came
they were
over to
looking
the.
for somebody
Thank
for
God.
the 10.
Thank God you got rid of that 9. You know what I'm saying? All right. So Jack knows all things about movies, and we were just talking about a lot of. Look, summer's winding down, and
Right.
I know this is kind of the last gasp for people to go check out a movie. So if there's something that you think people should see that they have not yet seen, what would be your one go-to?
Well, it depends on the genre because, it's just so difficult today to talk about a movie in general because movies, like any art form, it's so subjective. It's
Yeah.
how you interpret that particular, like a lot of people, I love horror films.
Yeah, you
but
do?
I love, you see that face you just made?
Oh, God.
So
you're
if I
that
were to say the
guy.
best horror film of 2015, it might be It Follows. You'd be like, Jack, no.
Okay, let's break it down then.
All
If
right.
you're a freak like you who likes horror films, blood and guts, what should I go see?
It follows. And this is sort of a return to the homage of the classic horror films where instead of gore and slashing, it's more about building a suspense to really make you frightened. Like back probably in the 1940s, there was probably the first movie that really sort of catapulted people into the suspense genre.
Yeah.
It was more of a modern horror. It was called Cat People.
Okay.
And it was about these monsters that you actually never saw. All you saw were the silhouettes, the shadows on the wall.
So your imagination scares you.
Your imagination
Yeah.
ultimately is what horror is all about. And they kind of just forgotten this in the modern era. So It Follows is more of a return to form to that sort of structure.
Okay, if I want to feel good, if I want to walk out of a movie and feel good and feel uplifted,
Huh.
what is there a movie out there this summer that you think fits that bill?
Yeah, Vacation. No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
See, that would make
It'll
me
make
feel
you
good.
laugh, though.
Yeah.
But feel-good comedies or just feel-good
Yeah.
movies, there's not many of them. I mean,
Why?
I think Jon Favreau really kind of sucked up that spotlight,
Yeah.
Last year with his movie Chef.
Yeah.
And remember Chef?
Do I remember Chef?
Talk about a feel-good movie that just makes you all tingly inside.
First of all, someone told me about Chef, and I don't care about cooking really at all. I got to this movie, and when you watch, I never knew watching a grilled cheese sizzle on a huge screen and watching the knife crunch through it
Close-ups,
and watching
yeah.
someone take that bite, crunch right in,
You're
and
making
pull
me
that
hungry,
cheese
Hoda.
out. I got to tell you, I was starving after that film, but there was that film I think captured something that I think people love, right? Not just the food portion, but all of it.
It's about a father who's having trouble in his career. He's one of
Yeah.
these 5-star chefs. Think of Bobby Flay,
Yeah.
who has a restaurant. But obviously, there's an owner played by Dustin Hoffman who says, "Look, it's my restaurant. You
You
just
do it my
cook in
way."
it. You
Right.
got to do it my way." So
Right.
it's a matter of two people with two big egos. Which one wins? Dustin Hoffman in this particular case won. But it's more than that. It's about a father who has to be a professional, be a husband, and try to be a father to this little boy who admires him, and he just doesn't really have time. So how do you balance that? And I think a lot of people connected with that sort of
I
topic.
love movies like that. You know what's funny about this batch of movies this summer? We heard Jurassic World, obviously.
Yeah.
That was the standout of all. But that wasn't the only big hit of the summer. What else scored?
Well, I could tell you that Avengers, Age of Ultron, which is from Walt Disney, the superhero genre just keeps on getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it just seems like Warner Brothers and right now Marvel have filmed straight through 2022, which is a long time. But you also got to look at Fast and Furious 7, Minions,
really
another
well.
family film. So you're looking at them in all types of genres, and that's something very specific. And the bests are to come. Star Wars Force Awakens.
Oh,
We got
right.
Spectre, which is the new James Bond film with Daniel Craig, which will be his last one. A lot of people are talking about Idris Elba replacing Daniel Craig as
Is
the
that
new
going to
James
happen?
Bond.
What do you think?
Well, I think in this multicultural diversity world that we're living in right now, that would probably be a really wise decision. It would get more attention to the franchise. Not that Dan Craig doesn't get attention, but having someone like Idris, which is anti-type to what the purity of the Ian Fleming's novels were, would be really interesting, a different take. I know NBC's doing The Wiz, which is like a different version. And that just goes and addresses all the issues of the multicultural diversity that we're living in today.
Universal did well. I mean, I didn't even know that because who knows, but I was at some meeting and they were talking about how Universal, I think, had its best string of movies ever or something like that. They were talking about, that was, what were they again, Minions?
Minions, Fast and Furious, and Jurassic World. They all broke over $100 million, and Universal right now sits pretty as having set a record not only for the company but probably for any movie studio. And there's something that they're doing, and a lot of kudos to Donna Langley, who's the CEO of Universal Pictures. They've really managed to tap into these franchises. I mean, because Minions, that's a spinoff of Despicable Me with Steve Carell, and it's just they've managed to really have an understanding of what people are connecting with through social media or something like that. And Jurassic World, another loved, adored franchise. It's more nostalgia more than anything, because that movie just felt like Steven Spielberg actually directed when he didn't, this Jurassic World, but he produced it. But it just felt like instead of 1993, it was like 1996.
So are people, I mean, by the way, you look at the numbers and you go, people are going to movies. But I feel like with all the different ways people can get entertainment these days, I mean, people say the same thing like, oh, look at newspapers. No one's getting them anymore. Look at this. Is anything happening in the movie world where if I have an option of watching Netflix and watching some great movies and a lot of things go straight out that way.
Oh, yeah.
Are they feeling any of the bite, any of the music, any of the movie houses?
Well, I think that something happened when The Interview.
Yeah.
When the Sony hack scandal happened, and then they distributed the film online as opposed to regular movie theater, because they were going to blow up the theaters if anybody put The Interview there. And I think something started happening, which was the home video sort of industry started kind of just adjusting for the future. And Netflix, obviously, right now, might be actually bigger than subscribers than HBO. Wow. And Brad Pitt just signed a deal to do a original film that will be released on Netflix.
Brad Pitt?
Brad Pitt. Not only him,
What?
Adam Sandler also did a 6-picture deal. Not that Adam Sandler right now he's kind of like persona non grata in the movie land right now. The Cobbler was a failure. Almost every movie he's been doing has been a failure.
But
on
you
the
know
box
what's
office
funny?
level.
Although I read that they said all of his movies haven't done well, we did the Forbes thing about who's made the most money.
He is.
He is. How does that work?
I think it's a loyal cult following. I think if you like his humor, you really can't get that humor anywhere else. It's kind of like Seinfeld. I mean, maybe Larry David and him share in that, but those are the two people that have that sensibility and humor. And I think Adam Sandler has really sort of tapped into that frequency of humor that people like and they can't get anywhere else.
Do you ever go to movies by yourself?
I do.
And do you ever feel weird, like, oh, here I am sitting here with popcorn alone?
No, I stopped eating popcorn.
Oh, no. How?
So now it became...
What's the point of going? Wait,
You know,
why don't you eat popcorn?
well,
Because you're on a diet?
No, it's not even so much that. It's that the advanced screenings that we get, they don't give us popcorn. So I mean, it's like literally just focused on seeing these films.
Wait, okay, so you see most of your movies because you go to screenings, right?
Yeah, advanced screenings that the studios give you.
But do you ever just go to the movies like a regular
If I
person?
haven't seen a movie, I'll try and get someone to come with me. And I usually see it like 2 weeks after they come out, and most people don't want to go see it because I already saw it.
Yeah.
So I will go to a movie by myself and get some popcorn and a soda.
Okay. Do you think it's, what's funny? I don't do many things alone. I mean, I do a lot alone, but I don't like go sit alone at a restaurant and eat a meal.
Is it because you feel like if you do it alone, you're like a loser or something like that?
I just don't enjoy it. Like, oh, hey, I'm cutting my food. I mean, I'd much rather, and plus, I don't eat the way I want to eat when I'm in public.
All right, well, let me ask you this.
No, I want to eat.
As
You know what
Hoda
I'm saying?
Kotb, going to a movie theater alone,
Yeah.
and this is pre your boyfriend,
Yeah.
when you were
Yeah.
single.
And I also, sometimes he travels. I mean, I'm not always tethered.
But
Yeah.
do people know that you're in the theater? Because they'll sit right next to you.
Well, sometimes people sit there next to me. Sometimes they don't. They just say, "Hey, wow, she's all by herself." So sad. Sometimes they do that.
Oh, God.
I don't mind. Like, I don't love sitting in a restaurant alone to eat because I think it's weird a little. I don't know why, because New York's so not that place.
Right.
That's what I mean. New York to me is like one of the perfect retirement cities because if you retire here, you can go to a movie by yourself. You can go to a show.
Oh,
If you're
yeah.
older, you don't need a car. You can flag a cab. You can sit in a diner. No one's going to go, "Oh, look at that poor thing."
Right.
I just think it's a different, great world. But when it comes down to doing things solo, sometimes so I don't like the meal. And plus, I'm a much heartier eater when I'm alone. I don't, I'll use the bread to sop it up. You know what I'm doing? Things I wouldn't do when I was I'd be like, "No, I'm done." It's like half of it's still there.
Yeah, half of it's still there.
I'm sending it away. It isn't great. Okay, so let's talk TV for a minute.
Sure.
There are 2 TV shows I watch a lot, and I granted we have to watch certain things for
Wait,
work.
you binge, though, right?
I do binge occasionally.
And you do it on the weekends.
Yeah, you know what? But we're behind. Joel and I are way behind. We are like binging Scandal. Everyone was like,
Oh,
okay,
okay.
hi, Grandma. Why don't you get with it?
it?
I love Veep so much.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus. First of all, something about her. She gets better with age.
What is going on
What?
with her?
Have you interviewed her recently?
No, because she only goes on the 8. I don't know why. She walks by us and we get the others.
Well, you should
But
bang your
by the
fist on the
way,
table once in a while.
She is genius.
Genius.
Right?
I think
The timing, the whole thing that she has going.
masterclass. Did you ever read that book by Malcolm Gladwell called Outliers?
Yeah, Outliers.
So the formula in that book is that in order to reach a level of genius or a level of master class skill, you have to do it for 7 years straight.
Right.
Or 10,000 hours, which is, I think, the mathematical formula. She's been doing this for like 20, 30 years,
Yeah.
and you can literally label her as a genius on a factual level,
Yeah.
on a mathematical level.
Yeah.
But then when you see her, it's very rare to see that level of comedic skill and timing.
I can't even believe what I'm
someone.
watching. And there's a girl who plays on that. Oh, what is her name? How am I blanking? I'll think of it in a minute. I'm totally blanking, but it'll come to me. They have so many great guests on that show.
Right, cameos and special appearances.
They had the guy from Law & Order SVU who I just had on the other day. What's his name? That cute one? Chris Maloney.
Oh, he's jacked. His shoulders look like Mount Everest.
Right,
on each
and
side.
when he plays the trainer, he's so bad. Like, he is just so amazing. So Veep is one of my. Is that a good one? Not her. Yeah.
Veep is a great one.
Yeah.
Look, HBO again somehow has managed to really. I don't know who's programming over there, and I should
Yeah.
probably find out. But
They're hitting it
they're
out of the park.
scouts. They're hitting it out of the park all the time. And
Right.
I saw this great segment with Amy Schumer. It was Julia Louis-Dreyfus. It was Amy Schumer, and they had some of the legends there on the table. Did you see this segment?
I didn't.
And so they're all talking about sex. And each one sort of lays in their own sort of version of how sex deals with each one of them.
Oh, you're
It
kidding.
is
Was
just
genius?
genius. Quote, genius. I loved it.
can't. Okay, so Veep's going to be obviously a hit for a long time.
Yeah.
They have a great group. And do you like? Is that one of your shows?
It's one of my shows, and
Yeah.
at some point she has to become the president of the United States, right? I guess when Hillary Clinton becomes
but how
president of the
can
United
are we
States.
changing the name? We're doing everything?
We Veep for vice president, right?
Huh?
Veep for vice president.
Okay.
Yeah. So at some point she's gonna have to be bigger than the
Then
vice
Veep.
president. yeah.
Okay. All right. And I mean, I like Nashville because I love country
I
music.
haven't gotten into that one as much. All right, sell it to me. Why should I
It's
watch
It's
Nashville?
a layup. It's a layup sell. First of all, Connie Britton's on it.
Uh-huh.
And I love Connie. Do you not love Connie Britton?
I do. I've seen her in so many things,
Okay.
but not in this particular show. And I know the girl from Heroes,
Yes.
Hayden Panettiere.
Yeah, she's on too.
I didn't know she could sing.
That's it. By the way, that's what you'll say throughout watching it. You'll go, "Oh my gosh. Oh my." I literally watch the show.
Uh-huh.
Then I download the songs and I have them on my phone. They are great. They have great songs on it, and they're beautiful. Like some of them are great ballads, but you're watching, and they wrote them, and they're great songwriters from Nashville who were involved in the songwriting process, and they have lots of cameos of people from that world. So you actually see like Lori Morgan or people in the country world would know pass through. I think Luke Bryan's been on, and the rest of them. So there's something just very hometowny and cool about it. I wish New Orleans would do one because I'm from New Orleans and
birthplace
love
of
it,
jazz,
right?
yeah.
And all those great musicians and the storyline and the backdrop and and to be able to show the people who really do the work. And there's something about the show that I just find mesmerizing.
It's interesting that there's so many shows. For example, I remember Smash, when Smash came out, remember on NBC, about the Marilyn Monroe Broadway musical they were trying. By the way, it's actually coming to Broadway now. Did you hear about this?
I knew that was the goal.
No. It's official. Bob Greenblatt, which is one of the heads of program here at NBC, I think him along with NBC own the rights to it.
So what's it called?
I think it's going to be called Bombshell. And it's coming out in about a year or two. And the reason that happened was because they did a charity performance.
Yeah.
One night only, Bombshell coming to Broadway show in order, I think it was for AIDS or something like that. Yeah. And it was such a hit. It reverberated in the media theatrical community to the point that they said, wow, this is too popular. People want it too much. Let's actually do it.
Wow.
The problem is, will Catherine McPhee be a part of it? Will Megan Hilty be a part of it? Those are big questions.
I like both of them. Okay, so what are your go-to television shows? Go.
Game of Thrones.
Of course.
Mad Men when it was on. Silicon Valley on HBO. It's
What's
a comedy.
that?
Okay, so Silicon Valley is like the new type of comedy. It's a very dry comedy. You have to have a particular sense of humor for it. Everybody says every joke in a straight face.
Okay.
There's no laughing track. There's none of that. But the situations are so hilarious, and the fact that they say it so seriously makes you crack up.
Okay.
And so it's in its second season.
Okay.
HBO just is knocking it out of the ballpark.
All right. So you like those two. What is there anything else that's
let me see. Oh, you know what? I'm watching a show on Netflix called Black Mirror. It's from BBC.
Someone told me about
Did you
Black
hear about
Mirror.
this? Okay.
What is it?
Best secret. I guess it's the best hidden secret gem show that you're not watching right now.
Okay.
Black Mirror is a British show. I believe it's something from like BBC Two or something like that. And it's about social media. It's about the future and how people in life deal with it. It's Black Mirror, meaning you're looking at yourself in the mirror, but from a social media perspective.
Okay.
One of the episodes is about the Prime Minister of England. It's actually the first episode. And how they kidnapped, I think, his niece or his daughter, and they say, if you want her back, you're going to have to make love to a pig on national TV.
I'm grossed out already.
Okay.
I'm already grossed out.
So it all has to do with the internet.
Okay, I want you to know that every face in this room, and there are 4, are scowling at you.
Right.
Okay, so
that's how it sounds like. That's how it sounds
you're
like.
Listening, going.
That's how it sounds like. But once you watch the show, that's the last thing of it. It's about how this man actually thinks it's a joke, and then he starts becoming serious. And it's how the internet and the digital age have really sort of unraveled life as it is today. And then there's a second episode that you should definitely watch. It's about a man who, in the future, you can record things through your eyes. They implant a chip behind your ear.
Yeah.
And this conversation remember Google Glass?
Yeah.
That unfortunately is no longer around?
Yeah.
Imagine your eyes were really like that.
That would be
And every time we had an argument, I would just rewind back to that moment that you said these words.
I dated someone like this.
No,
yes.
You're kidding me.
Well, who could remember all the things I said?
Wait, so they had like photographic memory or something?
Just enough that whenever you said something, they said, no, you said X. And I was like, no, I didn't. And then I remembered I did.
Like
So
right.
she has that.
So this whole episode is like that. And then there's another third one, which I think is genius. It's about a woman who loses her boyfriend to an accident. And through the compilation of all the moods, notes, emojis, and pictures on Facebook, they recreate a clone of him.
Okay.
That way she doesn't have to go through the sorrow in the morning of losing her boyfriend. And then there's that confrontation where she wants him back so bad that she accepts this clone that they send in a box, put him in a tub, and then he just comes to life, right?
Is this really good? You're losing me.
Black Mirror. the most modern futuristic thing you'll say on TV.
And by the way, I'm sure it's wildly popular. Is it? Is it?
It's everybody who sees it, they're like, wow, I haven't seen
I
anything
didn't know.
like this.
What about The Affair? Have you seen that?
I saw it and I stopped watching it third episode in.
The Things I Liked. Okay, it's
Yeah.
from her perspective and from his.
True Detective. Remember True Detective?
Yes.
It felt like that. And
So she thinks
Yeah.
she thinks he was pushy. He thinks she was flirty, and you see it from his eyes. What he thought she was wearing, what she believed she was wearing, what he thought she how long she touched his arm.
Right.
He thinks it was forever, and he touched by his bicep, and she thought she just did a cursory glance on his elbow.
Right.
It's very fascinating out of two perspectives, but yeah.
It reminds me of that Broadway show called Constellations,
Yeah.
which I believe the girl from The Affair was in with Jake Gyllenhaal on Broadway recently.
He knows all this weird trivia. What? You know it all. You
Did
really
you-
do.
did
No,
you
I
see
never
that?
saw that. I never saw Constellation.
Well, Constellations, it's basically flashbacking from both perspectives. They repeat the show over and over again that it does get vexing, but at
Yeah.
some point, there's a beauty and there's almost like a poetic grace to the whole show that becomes very memorable.
Well, okay. So, what do you have left to see? You've got a couple of weeks left in the summer. Anything you want to? Anything that's out there that you haven't seen yet?
Well, yeah, there's a few movies I haven't seen, like Ant-Man with Paul
Yeah.
Rudd. I keep on hearing that's very good. I've been on vacation,
Yeah.
so I haven't been back. I'm really looking forward to Alejandro González Iñárritu's The Revenant.
Oh.
Leonardo DiCaprio
Oh yeah.
stars in it.
Yeah.
Did you hear about this?
I heard a little. Give us
Supposedly
some-
the shooting of this film goes down in history as one of the most difficult shoots ever done on film. And Leonardo DiCaprio talks about it every time he winces at the idea of even talking about the shooting,
Yeah.
the production aspect of it. But Alejandro González Iñárritu just won Best Picture for Birdman.
Oh wow.
He was the director.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he won Best Producer.
And what is
obviously,
this
for that.
film called again?
The Revenant.
The Revenant.
And
All
that
right.
comes out near Christmas. I'm really looking forward to that.
Jack Rico, you've been a lot of fun. Jack Rico from ShowBizCafe.com. All right, Jack, have a great one, honey.
You too.
You've been listening to The Hoda Show on Sirius XM Today Show Radio 108.